Ranking Member Stabenow, and thank you for when I came to you with this very subject to do it in a subcommittee I chair, that he offered to do it on a larger forum. Been a great conversation. I've been involved in farming, tree farming, and row crops for many, many years. Was a turkey farmer for 32 years. I'm looking at the value equation in farming currently, and I remember 30 years ago you had hundreds of local suppliers. They're almost all now gone, concentrated increasingly into fewer and fewer folks that sell the inputs. And where's the responsibility, and I'll address this to Mr. Vilsack first, among the corporations that increasingly become more concentrated in this whole discussion? You know, we talk about farmers who, to me, look hamstrung with the economics and the perils of existing at the lower end of the food chain. All the things that need to be done to address climate and, more importantly, profitability at the production level. What's your opinion on how we challenge increasingly fewer and fewer that seem to be doing okay and prospering in a generally gloom farm economy when you look at farmers in general?
So a couple things. I think, Senator, the reason why we're in this situation is because we've moved away from publicly financed research. And now the research is being privately financed, which means that people expect a profit in exchange for the investment that they make in research. So one suggestion would be to significantly focus on increasing public research opportunities that creates information that's available to new entrepreneurial enterprises. Secondly, I think you also want to take a look at the patent laws. I mean, the reality is the pace of change is so accelerated today. The question is whether or not the patent laws, in terms of the length of time that you provide protection, are reasonable. And I think if you looked at those two things, you would spur a lot of innovation, a lot of entrepreneurship, and a lot of competition for the farmer dollar.
Thank you. And I want to ask this question to Matt. Your story in terms of what you're coping with on the farm, looking at precision fertilization. You know it needs to be done. But you have to spend a little money, you know, to actually take advantage of it. Many farmers are older. They don't embrace the technology. What is your feeling? Because your livelihood, I know, has been, I remember just recently, 10, 12, 15 years ago, an acre of soybeans, 70 to 100 bucks on inputs, corn, 140 to 170 bucks per acre, now double or triple. When Sonny Perdue was sitting there, I said, when are we going to start to challenge the industry itself, which I directed that question at Mr. Vilsack a moment ago, to get more involved, maybe providing relief to farmers, where, again, look at the value equation there, where they are selling inputs for 2 to 3 times as much as they did 10 years ago, and you're paying that much more. I liked when you said no-till, grass waterways, riparian waterways, CRP, WRP. I've done them all. Those are ways to be conservationists, but it still comes down to how do you make the investment that farmers have to make in a climate like this where you barely can pay the interest in some cases.
I think you just hit everything right on the head.
Thank you.
I mean, it's trying to make money right now today in the farm economy is virtually impossible. I mean, we're doing everything we can to try to do it right. But it's so tight that trying to ask somebody to put in any extra money to try to make something go in what I would say is the right direction is extremely hard for anybody to grasp right now. I mean, that's when you're already, like I said, bleeding. How do you ask them to take more money? You know, it's not going to happen. Number one, they can't. There's a lot of bankers that are saying no, you can't spend any more money. That's it. But this is what's right for the country. This is what's right for the ground and moving forward and for conservation and everything else. But it just doesn't matter. If you don't have the money to spend, you can't keep moving forward. So I think the programs and stuff like that is a huge incentive moving forward. If we have programs out there to take advantage of and use, and people can see that and say, okay, if I do this, this, and this on a sustainable platform, I can bring in this much money extra per year for my farm. That's huge. I mean, we talk about, I don't even know if I should get into this, but we talked about carbon credits a little bit. That I get excited when I hear that. I've looked into it, I've read about it. I'm like, that's a whole new avenue of income, like we've talked about. And to get to there, you have to have a carbon score on your farm. How do you get to a good carbon score? You create great solutions and have good soil health. You use conservation practices. That gets you to a higher number on your sustainability side, which will obviously create more carbon credits that you can hopefully sell for income. It all kind of works together.
Thank you for that honest depiction, and I challenge the industry publicly to maybe look at what they can do to help out everything we've been talking about, along with doing some things through government. I think it's going to be a joint challenge to get through this tough stretch. Thank you.